Here we go. Today is gonna be one of those conversations I love to have because it's with a person I've watched from afar, and I love what he does, especially for the Black community. Nationally acclaimed journalist. To call this man candid, it's an understatement. Provocative, guess you'll say that. Unapologetic, definitely. Unfiltered by every stretch of the meaning of that word. And what I love about him is before party, he is 100% pro-Black. Please welcome Roland Martin. Roland, what up?
Glad to be here. Finally.
Glad to have you here, man. Roland Martin on Vlad TV. Who'd have thought? Okay, Roland. I want to go into your backstory a little bit, and then because I know you love talking about the issues. But let's understand who Roland Martin is, the person, then we'll bring it to the issues. Cool?
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay. You're born and raised in Houston, or is it Austin?
Houston, born and raised.
You're born and raised in Houston.
Yep.
Okay, what part?
Grew up in Clinton Park, literally right next to the Ship Channel. It was actually one of the first master plan communities by the Department of Housing and Urban Development for Black folks. My grandparents migrated, my maternal grandparents migrated from Opelousas, Louisiana, to Houston. And they, of course, they took up residence in Clinton Park. That's where my mom was born. That's where I was born and lived there my entire life until I graduated from college. And then went to Jack Yates High School, Magnet School of Communications, which is in 3rd Ward. Houston has a very robust magnet school system. And so for me, it came down to law enforcement and criminal justice and the School of Communications. Those were the two I chose in 8th grade, and then I settled on the School of Communications. So I've been doing media since I was 14 years old. So I haven't changed in 40 years.
Okay. You talked about communication. You've been doing media since very, very early.
Yep.
If anybody knows anything about you, you are a talker. I guess you say that. You have no problem with getting into it with people. And typically, you're going to defend your stance to the end, and you usually have your facts straight. Have you been like that all your life?
No, not usually. Always. Not usually. And you got to remember, I just said it came down to two schools. It was law enforcement and criminal justice, and it was School of Communications. So it was either going to be a lawyer or going to go into media. So, and that was the case. But the thing that people don't realize is that the intent was never to be in front of the camera. When I was in the 10th grade at Yates, Mary Waits was our television instructor. And we literally had a TV station, a radio station, a newspaper in our high school, in our magnet program. And the first semester, we could not go into the studio. We had to learn the glossary, the terms of cables, cameras, tripods, the actual definition. So the first day of the second semester, she unlocks the door. And then, so all the students, they race to the set. Well, math is math, okay? It's only 3 or 4 chairs. Everybody can't be in front of the camera. So I literally turned to her and I said, hey, where does the person sit who tells them what to do? And she says, that person sits over there in the control room. I said, I'll be in the control room. So I understood very early on, power was not in who was in front. That was influence. Power was who was actually in the control room. So the goal was never. So I was an excellent student in front of the camera and behind the camera, but it was behind the camera first. So I understood the power of media as opposed to the folk who wanted the attention and things along those lines. So that was always the case. But when you talk about debating and defending positions, I mean, look, my parents, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles. Look, the Catholic church I was born and raised in Clinton Park was founded in my grandparents' living room. And so we grew up in a family. It wasn't where you had, kids were over there in one room, the men in one room and the women in one room. No, we were all in the same space. My maternal grandparents had 8 kids. They had 40. Those 8 kids had 42 kids. Those 42 kids had something like 70 plus kids. Those 70 plus kids had about 140 kids. So we understood Catholicism when it comes to how do you procreate and grow a family. So every Sunday, we only lived 8 blocks from my grandparents. So literally every Sunday, we were at my maternal grandparents' house. Growing up, my grandfather died when I was 15 years. So the first 15 years of my life, that was our life. I didn't have room for friends. I mean, I had, as my family was 5 of us, I had 37 cousins. I had room for friends. So we were all in the same space. And so debates took place. And those were vigorous debates, debates about politics, about religion. I mean, you name it. And kids we were not, it wasn't like, yo, y'all kids shut up and get out of here. No. If you wanted to get in on the debate, you could get in. But here was the deal. There was only one rule. You had to bring your shit. So it wasn't like, oh, take it easy on him because he's a kid. No, if you just have to jump your ass in that conversation, you had better be able to hang in that conversation. And so that's why I'm a mercenary when it comes to debate. Because, I mean, my whole thing is I want to put cats in rhetorical body bags. So I grew up, I mean, again, so you had to defend your position. Your arguments would get torn apart. So if you were not ready for that adult heat, sit your ass on the sideline. And that was really what I saw, what I experienced. And so, bruh, I was killing them in elementary school. I was debating in junior high school. I remember, man, we were in catechism. I'm probably 5th, 6th grade, and my brother is going at it with the catechism teacher, and he was 1 year ahead of me, so his class was right next to my class because it was all by grades. And then I start going at him. We had catechism teachers who were sitting here like calling our parents saying, you know, your sons are too aggressive. They're debating. Yo, man, we didn't care. You guys, the Knights of Peter Claver is the world's largest Black Catholic organization. So they have a junior division called Junior Knights of Peter Claver, Junior Daughters of Peter Claver. Man, we went to our first. We joined. My grandmother was like the president of the ladies chapter for years, and so we later joined. So man, we had a conference, our first state conference, St. Mary's Catholic Church in Houston. We're in the back of the room, man. They late. We sitting there like, man, what is going on? So we started talking. The dudes in front of us turned around. They were like, yeah, man, this makes no sense. So we just started bonding. Bro, we sat right there and said, man, this don't make any sense. We're going to take this thing over. We literally plotted the takeover.
How old was you at this time?
I was in 7th grade. So we're sitting there and seriously, we were like, yo, when's the election? And we looked up and said, hey, the election is this Sunday. We literally plotted the takeover and only one person from each branch could run. So my brother ran as a state officer, so I couldn't run. My job was to get the floor votes. Bruh, when that came on Sunday, them dudes didn't know they know where we came from. We won every position like 250 to 10 because we locked all the votes up. So again, I'm in the 7th grade. I was the one who rewrote our state constitution. Rewrote it. And so I remember we were in a meeting and the adults always ran the organization until we took over. We ran the budget. We ran everything. And I remember we were in a meeting and one of the adults, he just jumps up and starts talking. And I was like, excuse me, I'm going to let you take a seat. Bruh, I'm telling you, I'm in the 8th. This is the 8th grade now. I said, I'm going to let you take a seat. He goes, young man, excuse me. I said, you clearly have not read this section. No adult can actually speak in our meetings unless called upon. You have not been called upon by the president. I'm going to let you take a seat. His name was Joseph Valier. He was like one of the most powerful cats in the organization, but we wrote the rules. So the deal is when you got your facts, when you know the rules, when you know the game, you can control the game. So, bro, I'm in the 7th, 8th grade. Understood it. I witnessed my parents being, look, my parents didn't go to college, but they were founders of a civic club. Man, I was testifying before the city council when I was in junior high and high school. I would go to rallies at the state capitol with my mom when she was one of the 3 citywide co-chairs for the metropolitan organization, an interfaith coalition. So I saw that stuff early on. I saw politics early on. I saw how power operates. And so when you understand that, and my dad watched the news every day, read the paper, and so same thing. We had no choice because we had to watch the news as well. So again, you're well informed on the issues. And so, bro, I was debating teachers and other folks at church, and I'm talking about going hard. I mean, I'm talking about going hard. I didn't back down. And in fact, when you talk about backing down, I remember, I'm probably 3rd grade, 4th grade. I remember we had a kindergarten teacher. So when I went to Clinton Park Elementary School, then I went to the Vanguard program at Pleasantville Elementary School. And so there was these girls who they said I said something and I never said. But this kindergarten teacher, Mr. Johnson, he believed them. And so with this huge basketball game, it was like Vanguard kids versus the regular school. So it was always like a huge deal. So he said, unless you apologize, you ain't playing in this game. So I guess I ain't playing this game. Now, mind you, this is like the game of the year. Like look what it's the whole year. I'm like, I ain't say it. And I sat there for 4 periods, fully dressed, in the cafeteria, didn't move. So I ain't gonna back down. So when you see me debating and when you see me swinging, bro, that's been since elementary school.
Yo, you know what's so crazy? Because you come from a black family.
Yep.
And you live down the block from your maternal grandparents. It's so interesting that the debating part was encouraged, because usually in black families, they don't want no back and forth. Nah. Usually your mama, she's quick with that slap. You go back and forth with the grown folks, and you're from the South. Typically, it's okay, you're a child, stay in the child's place.
Yeah, you couldn't go back and you couldn't go back and forth if they told you to go do something. But it was like the conversations were about topical things and the Bible and what God means for us to do. And the guy said, my maternal grandfather, we called him Papa, was no joke. Papa had spiritual gifts. I'm talking about gift of healing, gift of prophecy, all of that. And my grandfather used to go at it and swing on the priests. Now, mind you, Catholics, for the most part, Catholics are not, you're not raised to, you don't know how many books of the Bible. You ain't quoting scripture. My grandfather knew the word backwards and forward. Okay. God came to him in a dream and gave him the gift of healing and prophecy. And dude, I experienced it. I'm talking about when I say experienced it, I experienced being extremely sick and him praying over me. And 30 minutes later, I was up. I had a birthday party. My brother and I 1 year, 1 day apart. And so it was a birthday party. I forgot what number. And I might have been 12, 13, something like that. I've been sick all day, literally couldn't stand up. My mom took us shopping. I stayed in the car. I lay on the back seat. They moved the party from a rec center to the house because I was so sick. My mama called me to the bedroom. She said, "Hey, Papa's on the phone." And I'm talking about, dude, I couldn't move. I couldn't get out of bed. My whole body was racked with pain. And I never forget, my grandfather said, "Baby, how you doing?" I said, "Not doing well." He said, "Put the phone in your left hand and put your right hand over your heart." And that was a prayer that God gave him when he was a child. And he says the prayer. I could not hear him making out the words because he kept it very low. And he said, "Now go back in the bed. You'll be fine." Straight up. 30 minutes later, got dressed, walked into the kitchen where the party was going on. There's a photo, too, of me. There's a photo from that night. And I walked in, and my dad could not believe it. And my dad was like, what in the world happened? And my mom said, I called Papa. Straight up. And I'm talking about I was sick the entire day. I'm talking about 12, 14 hours, couldn't move, pain, everything. That prayer said over me, and I was up in 30 minutes. So my grandfather used to debate hard with the priests. So I witnessed that. So I grew up watching the emphasis on truth. And it was taken seriously. Facts were taken seriously. You couldn't come to the debate in our house and your stuff not be together, or I watched aunts and uncles get obliterated. So for me, early on, it was always have your stuff together. I remember I was in high school, man. I did 12th grade. No, yeah, 12th grade. Miss Joseph was my teacher. So she said, no one can serve more than 8 years as president. I said, that's not true. I said, we have empirical data on that. And so we start arguing back and forth. And I was like, I'm sorry, why are we arguing? You're wrong. I said, and she was like, I am not wrong. I said, we're in the middle class. I'm like, you're wrong. I said, John F. Kennedy was killed on November 22nd, 1963. Lyndon Baines Johnson became president that day. I said he ran for his own term in 1964. He chose not to run for re-election in 1968. That means that he would have served 8 years as president plus the 11 months as president after Kennedy got killed. I said, the data don't lie. Man, we had a test. I wrote down on that she was wrong. She lit me up, and I'll never forget. She was so mad. So we had these quizzes, and I think in that class I had like 102 average. We had these quizzes. My protest was I refused to answer any of the questions, and then I told her, I guess it's going to lower my grade to 101. Dude, she was hot, but she was wrong. So early on and in high school, I would go at it with teachers. If I had the facts and you were teaching something that was fundamentally wrong, we would go at it because my deal is I don't care if you're the teacher if what you're saying is wrong. And so, man, that continued complete. So think about it. That was high school. So college and out of college, that's how I rolled. So, I debate hard. I debate it, and that's why people go, man, why you be interrupting folks on your show? Because if you lie, and this is really a fundamental thing for me. If you say something that is materially and factually false, I have to correct you because I cannot allow somebody who's watching or listening to hear something that is false, and then I say nothing, and because they can go, well, Roland said nothing, so clearly that must be true. No, I don't care what it is. We can be in the middle of a conversation, and if you say something that's false, I'll say, well, actually, that's not true. Because I can't let people walk around with something that's just fundamentally wrong. And that's, to me, that's a problem that we have today because we let things go that are simply wrong. And people are walking around and then they spout that or they repeat it. And so now you're repeating the lie. No, I can't allow that. So truth is truth. So we can argue opinion. We can argue what that means. What we're not going to do, we're not going to argue truth. We're not going to argue truth. I'm going to shut you down.
And you're good for that. God knows you are good for that. You will interrupt, interject, and stand on your truth if it is the truth.
All day.
Okay, you talked about college. You went to Texas A&M?
Texas A&M.
HBCU?
No, not HBCU. PWI. But here's what's interesting about that. So Jack Yates High School is in 3rd Ward, which is not even arguably, it is the most, it's the richest, most blackest, culturally significant black community in Houston, in Texas. If you've got Harlem in New York, if you've got Compton in Los Angeles, you got Third Ward in Houston. We call it Third Ward, Texas, the Trey. So that's why I went to high school. My dad grew up there, and both of my parents went to Yates High School as well, because it was one of the only high schools that black students could actually go to back in the day. And what was interesting, man, is so right across the street from Yates is Texas Southern University, HBCU. Right behind Yates is University of Houston. Okay, so so I had a lot of people over the years. Man, why do you go to HBCU? TSU across the street, Prairie View down the street. Well, here's what's crazy. Texas Southern has a school of communications. University of Houston has a school of communications. Prairie View has a journalism program. TSU and Prairie View HBCUs, U of H isn't. I came out of high school as the #1 student. The teachers voted me the top student there. If you use a sports classification, I came out of high school as a 5-star. That's how good I was at communications. Neither one recruited me. I was across the street. Never. Dude, we were across the street. My former television instructor, Mary Waits, left after my junior year to teach at TSU. TSU never recruited me. Prairie View I remember Diana Fallis, who used to be a TV anchor in Houston. She was a professor at PV. They would often come to our campus, never recruited me. And so, listen, my brother was in college. I was in college. My sister followed us. Man, I'm telling you right now, thinking back, I guarantee you my parents never sent the three of us combined $1,000 while we were in college. Dude, they had the money. So my brother had an academic scholarship at Texas A&M. I think it was like $8,000. I got a $10,000 one. I got one. I got my sister hooked up. And so that was the deal. And so I remember we were on the Tom Joyner cruise and we were recording. And so Tom Joyner, he goes, hey, I bet you really regret not going to HBCU. I said, oh, absolutely not. I said, absolutely not. I said, I enjoyed my 4 years at Texas A&M. If I had to do it again, I'd do it all over again. And he was like sort of stunned. And I said, first of all, I said, what the hell are y'all talking about? I said, my parents, I said, why would I voluntarily incur debt? Hell no. I follow the money. So we follow the money. So I don't get caught up in all that silliness of you didn't go to an HBCU. First of all, I don't believe that you're less than if you went to HBCU. I don't believe that you're less black if you went to a PWI. My deal is go to school. I don't care where you go. But you make a financial decision because we got too many black folks walking around in debt because of college anyway. So, and it was a brother I was talking to. He was on the board of trustees of HBCU. And he was real, but he went to a PWI. He was real cognizant. He was like, well, I don't really want to push too hard because, I didn't go to an HBCU. I said, is the HBCU getting your damn money? I said, well, then you can offer your damn opinion. I said, what the hell are you scared of? Man, I ain't got no problem wearing my Texas A&M gear. I don't care what they think. I wear my Texas A&M gear to a HBCU. I don't care. That's where I went to college. I'm not offended by it. Is it perfect? No. Do I kick their ass on some stuff? Absolutely. But I don't care. So I tell folk, in fact, first of all, you got to remember, there are 230,000 students who go to the nation's 107 HBCUs. 20% of the 230 are non-black. There are 1.5 million black students who go to PWIs. So there are 5 times more black students who go to non-HBCUs. HBCUs. My deal is I support all of them. I want you getting an education. You make the right decision for you. For me, hey, it was following the money. If TSU or Prairie View would have recruited me and put some money on the table, that would have been a different conversation. But they didn't.
Okay, I know you're an alpha.
Life member.
So
and never let no dude hit me. That's the dumbest shit I've heard in my life. Hazing is so stupid to me.
Okay, we can go down this road. And I want to move the interview forward. But you are always in support of the Divine Nine.
Yeah.
Always. But you don't believe in the Hazing.
Hell no. Hazing is stupid. First of all.
What year did you go over, first and foremost?
Spring 89.
Spring 89.
So I remember, so this happened. We did a road trip and it was a brother from Prairie View. And
before you say what you're about to say, you know your brothers are listening.
I don't give a shit. This ain't the first time I said it. And in fact, when I played Spring 89, we crossed April 27th, 1989. And what happened was we had our convention that summer. And we go to the convention. Hazing was an issue. And so I was going to speak on the floor. And they had some brothers from my chapter were like, yo, Roland, man, don't go hard, because they know how I felt about hazing. And they didn't want me to talk about how our chapter did not haze. And I said, wait a minute, why in the hell are we not going to share how we do it the right way? And y'all scared with somebody. I said, I don't give a fuck what nobody else think. We doing this shit the right way. The concept of pledging is to break someone down, but then build them back up. But the breaking down is not to break you physically. It's to break you down as an individual, but to establish what a brotherhood concept is like, which is why you have your line. So I never forget, some cats, again, they want to be, I don't need to hit nobody. I said, this is the deal. I said, you want to paddle the behind when I want to pledge the mind. So we had some brothers who were online. The line was disjointed. They didn't have any unity. Now, some other places could be like, yo, we need to whoop their ass. That's stupid. Somebody can easily take an ass whooping. But why am I going to beat another person? Why am I going to beat somebody, because of some letters? So I observed the whole line. And I said, I think it was like 13 or 14 brothers. I said, do me a favor. I need you to put all of your line folders in the middle of the table. And they put all their folders in. And then I said, now grab your folder. And each one of them went and grabbed their individual line folder. I said, it is abundantly clear your line has absolutely no brotherhood or unity whatsoever. Whole room was like, what? I said, first of all of your line folders are supposed to be so uniform, you cannot distinguish between one folder and the other. So the fact that you could go grab your individual folder means that your folders are disorganized, disheveled, you don't have any unity, because I said you could identify you as an individual, which means that you're not a line, you're an individual. You don't have any brotherhood because it's just you. I said, if you want to get yourself together, y'all need to establish a real concept of brotherhood, and it starts with making sure your folders are not all individually distinguished. I said, which means they're shoddy and unorganized. Then I walked out. The whole room was silent. Bros were like, where the hell did that come from? Because I was thinking through. I use that as an example to walk them through. That's how you break somebody down. Beating somebody is dumb. So what has it led to? It's led to death. You can't come back from death. It's led to massive lawsuits. It's led to Divine Nine spending millions of dollars on settlements because some fool decided to hit somebody and made somebody run and somebody died from exhaustion. That is stupid. A mother or a father does not send their child to college to return home in a body bag. That is not what the process is supposed to be about. Because in fact, no great alpha became a great alpha because of where they pledged. No great alpha became a great alpha because of where they went to college. They became a great alpha because of what they did after college. So why am I going to sit here and physically, mentally, emotionally harm somebody and break them to the point where they hate what they wanted to join? That to me is idiotic. And so I remember we did a road trip, and it was a brother from Prairie View. He was like, yeah, you soft ass brothers from from Texas A&M, y'all ain't shit. This was Prairie View, we would have whooped y'all ass. I said, what's your chapter graduation rate? He goes, excuse me? I said, what's your chapter graduation rate? I said, in the history of our chapter, only one brother's not graduated. I said, and he can't do anything with our chapter. I said, so please tell me what whooping somebody's ass has to do with your graduation rate. I literally said, fuck you. I said, we do it right. I said, the point is to graduate. The point is to go do great things after graduation. You clearly ain't figured out what you're supposed to be doing as an alpha. And I walked off.
I mean, y'all are neighbors. Y'all didn't cross pledge? They crossed the street?
No. But again, though, when I played, we had chapter standards. So if you went to somebody else's campus, you had to abide by the chapter rules. In fact, we had a run-in. This was hilarious. Man, it was like a Sunday morning. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. We in the library, and we tired as hell. We walking through, and so we go by this table, and this guy goes, Sphinxman. We turn around, and we don't know who this dude is. We don't know who the hell this dude is. He was like, he ain't got no alpha paraphernalia, nothing. He said, I turned around and we go, yeah? That's how you address a big brother? We were like, who are you? Like, we literally had no idea who this was. So dude started going off. So he's like, I want to talk to all y'all. We're like, I don't know who the hell this dude is. So we go into the room. Man, he's going off. He cussing. He was like, he's like, I'm at Prairie View. I'm coming to the library to do this research or whatever. And we like, dude, we don't, like, literally we had no idea who this dude was. And so, man, he just kept going. And I just got tired of this shit, bro. And so I literally stood up. I stood up. I said, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop line, whoop your ass, and come back and get back online.
Get out of here.
Ask my LBs. I got 3 living LBs. Ask John Williams, Freddie Ricks, or Paul Stafford. Is that what I said?
I'm going to fact check you on that one, bro.
Go ahead.
Because you're talking about Spring 89 right now.
Spring 89.
Nowhere in the world.
I stood up and I said, I'm going to drop line, whoop your ass, and come back and get online. And so we had a phrase at the Big Brothers used which equal, like, if stuff got crazy, it equalized everything. So it wasn't like Sphinxman, Big Brother. So they all stepped in, ushered out of the room. I was like, man, I said, I ain't taking this bullshit. Because one, I wasn't going to let again, we don't know who you are. You're not from our university. So you could just be anybody. So you ain't just going to talk to us like you crazy, and we don't know who the hell you are. That's exactly what I said. You can ask John Williams, who was number 2, Freddie Ricks, who was number 4, and Paul Stafford was number 5. Our number 1, Kevin Phillip Roberts, died 10 years after we pledged on a plane crash. He was the first black drum major, Texas A&M history. Kevin died. You can ask them 3. It's exactly what I said to homeboy. And so that was the deal. Like, we were just, and again, here's the thing I need people to understand, and this is where I stand. I don't care. You're still dealing with young men. You're not dealing with children. I don't understand people who pledge grad chapter and they letting somebody whoop their ass. I ain't gonna be no. Listen, if my daddy found out that I let some dudes my age whoop my ass over some letters, he would whoop my ass. And that wasn't gonna happen. So when I was told people were like, oh man, you skated, you ain't take wood. Hell no. I'm not letting somebody beat me for some letters.
Yo, but I'm gonna tell you something though, Roland. Did you okay, we're now in 2023. This is, and I do want to move this interview forward, but this is commonplace. Your train of thought. Spring 1989, that was not, your train of thought was not the way it was done. It wasn't.
For us, it was. Let me tell you something. Because see, here's the deal. And maybe you say my line was different. Doc, we were accomplished walking into the frat. My number 1 was the first black drum major in Texas A&M history, Corps Cadets. Number 2 was the president of a National Association of Black Accountants chapter. I'm running and about to get elected to the National Board of the National Association of Black Journalists. Number 4 is the starting point guard on the basketball team. Number 5 is the vice president of the Student Government Association. We were the shit when we pledged. So, in our mentality, but again, and some will say, oh, because you went to a PWI. But again, we understood what the pledge process was supposed to be. See, that's the problem. What has happened is we have allowed people to take this thing, to take these organizations and strip them of what they're supposed to be. Alpha Jewel, Vertner, Woods, and Tandy was speaking against hazing in the 1930s. So what has happened is we have let it become the standard. Oh, you ain't real unless you didn't get your ass whooped. You ain't real. Oh, you skated. No, that's stupid. It's insanity. And what it has done is it has created, there are people, man, who refuse to come back because they got beat. There are people who refuse to even be involved because of how they got treated. That ain't how you're supposed to do this thing. No, we are to be creating, molding, shaping, building young men to become great men. You don't do that by making somebody run 20 miles. Just what? Or you to exhaustion, or making you drink in ridiculous amounts of water. You damn near getting waterboarded. It's just, I mean, that's just how nonsense. That's not how I want to deal with this. If I'm able to change this, I can make you a great man. Whooping your ass don't make you a great man.
Well said. Well said. And again, that train of thought was way ahead of its time.
And I just, and if you told me you don't get your ass whooped, you ain't pledging, you keep your letters. Listen, I don't drink. I've never drank in my life. I never have. No interest in drinking. If you want to drink, I'm fine with it. We knew who was going to pledge. We sat down before. Man, we were like, yo, I said, guys, listen, I don't drink. All that's about one do, all do, I'm not drinking. In fact, my man John Williams, who was number 2. John, strong Christian. Man, we were in a pledge session, and one of the big brothers said, get on your knees and bow down. John said, I don't bow down to no man but Jesus. And we were like, with no big ass deal. It was like, just sit down, kneel. Bruh, I'm not lying. Imagine there was a brick wall standing right next to me. And imagine me trying to pull that brick wall down. That was John. I was like, I turned to Fred, I was like, his ass ain't bowing down. I'm talking about John's body was a brick wall. His body was that rigid. He's like, I ain't bowing down. Now, the brother who said bow down was a pastor. He was like, what? I'm a pastor? He's like, I don't care. I ain't bowing down to no man. So again, some cats would be like, man, y'all line was crazy. But we had a level of conviction as black men that we said, no, man, this ain't what we doing.
Well, I'm going to tell you, y'all line was crazy. Let's start there. And I applaud your conviction, but let's be real clear. The way y'all was so bold with it, it ain't too many chapters, it ain't too many lines, it ain't too many pledges during that period in time that would have made it across the burning sands.
But guess
ain't
what?
Nowhere in the world.
But guess what? That's why. See, and this is why I'm trying to get cats to things. But that's who you wanted. That's who you want wearing your letters.
Well said. Well said.
That's the brothers you want.
That's
you want
well said.
Guys who who were doing stuff before they got into the frat. You want that. Why would you say, y'all, nah, you can't come in? You want that. And that's the whole point. And that's why I'm trying to get cats to change. This is the deal. And what we're talking about has everything to do with what I do in my career and what I always talk about. When we can reprogram Black America, because we do need a massive reprogramming. That is what we desperately need. We have to reprogram how we are doing things and what we're creating. So when we talk about how I challenge the divine nine. I'm challenging them to go beyond being so concerned about what's happening internally. Dr. King said in his book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community? And because it also ties into what I do with media. He said that there are 4 institutions that are prime position to liberate Black America. He said the Negro Church, the Negro Press, Negro fraternities and sororities, and Negro professional and business organizations. He said none of them have fully committed themselves to the liberation of Black people. He said Negro fraternities and sororities should be stopped concerned about snobbishness. He said Negro church should stop being concerned about what you're going to get up yonder when people want to experience heaven on earth. And he said the Negro press needs to stop falling for, needs to be focused on the substantive and maintain its position as protest organs and maintain its militancy and not be concerned about the trivial. That's what he said. So for me, how I look at the Black church, Black media, Black-owned media, how I look at our Black organizations, we have to have a reckoning where we redefine. So when I challenge civil rights groups, when you're getting corporate donations, that's fine. But understand, the $1 million or $2 million you might get from that corporation, they still owe Black folks $500 million to $1 billion. And so when you're saying, fine, we'll take your donation, Wells Fargo or Bank of America or any other institution, but what about Black transportation contracts, engineering contracts, legal contracts, event planning, PR, Black-owned media? See, it's expanding our view. How we now, as King said in his speech, April 3rd, 1968, how are we operating as a collective to transform Black America? So it's the exact same thing. And so when I am critical of hazing and that process, I am seeing it as the tearing down and in many cases, the maiming and killing of Black men and Black girls and Black women, as opposed to building up. When the drum major died at Florida A&M, I don't give a damn about no band. There is no kid that should go home in a body bag who's trying to play a damn instrument in the band.
That's right.
But again, we go. My high school, bruh, Black high school in Houston, they did the exact same thing. They hazed, but they had a rule. If you were first chair, you couldn't get hazed. Who was first chair? I walked in first chair. Them dudes were so mad at me, they went and got cats who had graduated, who were in the band at Texas Southern, to come compete against me because they said I was arrogant. Fuck you. I'm good. I practiced. I studied. I should be good. But again, that's a state of mind. It's a level of excellence that we have to be demanding at every stage. So yeah, I've been a little different.
You think?
And cats get mad. Like cats got mad when they were like, when I told a story when I cussed out Khalid Muhammad, they were like, oh, that didn't happen. I'm like, it did happen. I'm like, y'all actually think I'm scared? I was scared to challenge him, man. Look, I said that wasn't the only person who I went off the record and cussed out, dude. It's just, man. Listen, what people don't understand is when you have a high level of self-respect and you demand self-respect, especially when it comes to Black-owned media, you're going to have some situations where you're going to go at Black folks and they not going to be happy. That's fine. But you know what ends up happening? That person's going to respect you more because you stood your ground. That's always been the case. Don't care.
I know you got married in 01. So you've been married for a while now.
Yeah, my second marriage, yeah.
Okay. What the hell is it like being married to you? Like usually the man, after a while, he shut up. Whatever the woman
Oh,
say.
hell no. Oh, hell no.
I'm listening to you,
Oh,
and
hell no.
I'm thinking,
Hell no.
and I'm like, being married to this dude.
Hell no.
Your wife must be a saint, man, because ain't no way in the world, especially a black woman, she not gonna let you out talk her. And,
Okay,
and
see
I don't
right there.
see where you would stop talking.
See right there. See, you use what's the operative word you just used?
Out talk?
No.
Black woman.
Nope.
What you tell me then?
Let.
Mm.
I'm a grown ass man. You ain't like so, I'm on a cruise. First of all, I hate cruises. I can't play golf every day. So we had one stop. I played golf. Next day, we had another stop. Shit, I'm gonna play golf. I'm getting off the cruise, and the guy who played with us the day before, he goes, "Yo, how your wife let you play golf 2 days in a row?" I said, "Fuck you mean let?" I said, "I'm a grown ass man." I said, "I didn't ask permission to go play golf 2 days in a row. My ass go and play golf. What the hell you mean let?" All these folk acting a fool because Ciara wore this sheer dress to the Oscars. I can't believe Russell Wilson let his wife out the house. That woman 37 years old. What you mean let? Man, see, this is the problem. I think a lot of people get up. You with a grown ass woman, and I'm a grown ass man. Ain't no let. Let me tell you something. My wife ain't got no say-so or veto power over a damn thing in my closet. I cannot stand watching dudes. We can be shopping and they a damn mannequin. A woman be like, "Stand there, let me see this." Oh, hell no. Woman ain't dressing me. My dad had 2 sons, 3 daughters. My dad taught us how to dress, including my sisters. Taught us how to pick out clothes for my mama when we would get the credit card for Pally Royal to go get her a Mother's Day gift or a birthday gift. Man, let no damn woman dress me. I'm grown. No, you ain't got no say so. I'm not running a damn. I was at a Howard Charter Gala. Brother was like, "Damn, man, I love that African outfit you had on. My wife wouldn't let me wear one." I said, I said, "Man, give me your phone." I made a video for him, and I said to his wife, I said, "How you gonna decide what this grown ass man gonna wear?" Dude, I don't understand. I don't understand that concept. I don't. That's just the dumbest thing in the world to me. So my house is great. This real simple. You can work, you ain't gotta work. That ain't up to me. When we go on vacation, Roland playing golf. I ain't doing no other. Look, if you want to go rock climbing, I ain't going rock climbing. Knock yourself out. My philosophy is you on vacation, I'm on vacation. That means you doing some shit by yourself and doing stuff by myself as well. So everybody can be happy. But I am not going to abide. Man, listen, it's like you got some women, he won't eat this here. I'm not eating nothing I don't want to eat. I'm grown. I'm telling you, people, I don't understand that whole concept. I don't. So, I mean, look, you could take, that's going to be for somebody else, but I'm going to do what the hell I want to do. I'm going to be respectful. Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and diminish you, dismiss you. But what's not going to happen, I'm not going to be sitting here treated like no damn child, and I'm grown. So, yeah, I don't understand the let. See, right? See, you use the wrong word, let.
You know, I wish she was in the room.
I guarantee you, she'll tell you.
I would stop this interview right now and put her in the seat that you sitting in.
Go ahead.
And have a whole different conversation.
Send an email. Send an email. Go to jackandhood.com, send an email. She'll tell you.
Oh, my goodness.
She'll tell you. Dude, she bought me 2 Brooks Brothers ties. I went on the radio in Chicago and said, "I ain't wearing these ties. They were ugly. I ain't like." She gave them to my daddy. I said, "I'm not wearing these ties. I don't like that Brooks Brothers look." My daddy got them ties. You can, straight up, I went on the radio and said, "Y'all know I ain't wearing these ties." "Oh, Roland, wear it anyway." No. That ain't happening. If I don't want to wear it, I'm not wearing it. I'm grown.
Roland, you are a wild boy.
That's how is that wild? I don't understand. You know why? Here's the whole deal. When you see a woman and she walk out and she know her skirt too short. You know why? Because she constantly pulling on it. You know what that means? You self-conscious. It means you walked out of the house, so the whole night is ruined because you constantly tugging and pulling because it's in your mind. Because your whole time is you thinking, what they thinking about, what they saying about me. Okay, so you can't, my skirt too short. That's why my deal is take the shit off at home. Listen what I'm saying. If you, this is my philosophy. If you're gonna be, I said this to my wife or any woman I've ever known. If you're gonna be self-conscious walking out the door, you're gonna be self-conscious the entire night. It's gonna be a miserable night. So don't wear something that you're not totally confident. When I walk out the house, bruh, I'm wearing what I'm wearing. I don't give a damn what nobody thinks. Oh, he got an African outfit on. Sure do. Kiss my ass. Oh, an ascot? Yep. Kiss my ass. I know he ain't coming here with some cowboy boots on. Sure did. Kiss my ass. Because you didn't pay for it, so I don't give a damn what you think. That's just straight up. I don't care what you think. Oh, man, you driving a 2008 Navigator? Yep, some bitch been paid off since the day I drove it off the lot. And it still runs. Kiss my ass.
Okay. All right.
Look, my daddy said, this is my dad told me, it's a true story. He said, son, when you pay all your bills, then you get to make all decisions. I said, got it. He didn't say some bills. He said, that's when you grown, when you pay all your bills. True story. My first marriage, I was living in Mansfield, Texas. My parents came to the house, and I forgot what it was. And my daddy wanted to comment on something in my house. And he did. And this is the look I gave him. Which was the same look I grew up seeing all the time. What my look said was, you don't pay a damn thing here. And you know what he said? He sort of looked, he went, this is what he went, son, you right. And went quiet. Because he didn't pay a bill at my house. You don't get to comment on shit at my house, you ain't paying nothing. In that moment, he went, I'm telling you, I went. And he went, son, you right. That's the deal.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's move this thing forward. You got me cracking up over here.
It's truth. It's true. Dude, it's true.
You remember?
People can just sit and look, man, it's true. I don't, look, when I talk about speaking truth, again, I told the Khalid Muhammad story, a lot of his followers, they got all mad. I'm like, man, I don't care what y'all think. I'm telling you, I know exactly what happened. Look, when I ran the Houston Defender, Lee Brown was the mayor of Houston. He was an alpha. He pissed me off. I kept introducing myself. Now I'm running the top black newspaper. Again, true story. So he goes to South Africa, man, come back, white media, killing him. Because he took like 4 police officers, charged the city like 75, 80,000, for their travel and expenses. So I get a phone call, either his press secretary, chief of staff, or something like that. Hey, Roland, this is so-and-so. We want to bring the mayor by your offices. We want to talk about this trip to South Africa, the importance of trade and between the city of Houston and South Africa. We get a lot of criticism. He talking, I was like, you done? He's like, yeah. I said, fuck Lee Brown. I said, this is exactly what I said. I said, you motherfuckers didn't call me before you left. I said, so now white media kicking your ass. Now you want to call me to bail your ass out. I said, no, we ain't doing that. I said, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to kick his ass in the paper this week. And there was a TV show called Newsmakers that was on the NBC affiliate, Channel 2, that we had a seat on and I was on. I said, I'm going to kick his ass on Sunday. I'm going to kick his ass next week. And y'all going to learn not to disrespect black media and ask me to bail your ass out when white media is on your ass. Click. That's exactly what I did. That was 1999 at the Houston Defenders. So we're talking, that was 24 years ago. I was 30. That's exactly what happened. And again, you're not gonna disrespect Hillary Clinton's first lady. She come to the Martin Luther King Center, South Dallas. It's 100 yards from the Dallas Weekly. I'm the managing editor. So I go by. So they had two rooms. They had a room over here and a room over here. And the room over here, they had lights and everything set up. So like for video or photos. I said, well, what's going to be going on in here? Oh, she's going to stop in here. She's going to visit with the kids. And this is where the media is going to be. I was like, what media? They said, we got a pool. I said, well, who's in the pool? They said Associated Press, UPI, Dallas Morning News, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. I said, no black-owned media? I said, no, y'all ain't bringing y'all ass to Black South Dallas to the MLK Center with a black paper 100 yards away. Ain't no black-owned media gonna be in this damn press pool. I said, we got a damn problem. And they were like, well, sir, we've already, we got the advanced team. I said, I don't give a damn. I said, you need to go get the Secret Service agent in charge. I said, but the first lady ain't gonna be coming to Black South Dallas and ain't nobody black in this damn press pool. They went and had a conversation, came back, said, Mr. Martin, we're going to be adding you to the press pool. I said, yeah, I thought so. Bruh, that's what I'm talking about. Now, if anybody wanted to dispute that happened, in my studio is two photos of Hillary Clinton talking to some black kids. I shot the photo. I was in that press pool. So what I'm laying out, that's been me my whole career. I am not afraid to challenge nobody, to hit anybody. I'm gonna stand up and fight for my paper, for the radio station, for the TV network. You are not going to disrespect black-owned media, and you ain't gonna disrespect me as a black man. It's not gonna happen. I don't care who it is. That's just real.
You were with CNN, where many of us came to know you.
Yep, that was February 2007 to April 2013.
To 2013. How'd you end up at CNN?
So here's what's interesting. So, Mark Watts was a former CNN national correspondent who later became an agent. Mark, I met when I got the Alpha Scholarship when I was a high school student. He was a reporter in Houston. Mark is an Alpha. I later become an Alpha. So we knew each other through the National Association of Black Journalists, and so Mark became my agent. So 2001, was it two? I'm in Chicago for a Uni Journalists of Color mentoring deal. And I remember 2000. So, okay, here's how 2000, Bush and Gore are running against each other. And I'm watching one of the debates and I'm really upset because I don't like the analysis that I'm hearing because frankly, they were ignoring a bunch of stuff that I thought was important. So I called Mark. I was like, yo, next presidential election, I'm going to be doing this. I said, because this is bullshit what I'm hearing. They ain't talking about the real issues that black people care about and regular people care about. And that was 2000. The next year, I'm in Chicago, and Henry Malden, they are hot on Suzanne Malveaux, okay, who just left CNN. They are hot. And so Mark represented Suzanne. They would want anything to sign Suzanne. So Mark said, all right, Henry comes to Chicago to meet with Mark. Mark goes, all right, well, you want Suzanne? You got to meet Roland Martin. Henry Malden was like, who the hell is Roland Martin? Mark's like, don't matter. Y'all want her? Y'all got to meet with Roland. So I come there and it was crazy. I had nothing but dashiki. So all these old simple Simons out there who think I started wearing African outfits after I left CNN are stupid. I got married in one. And then I got married in one in 2001. So I'm sitting here, dude, at this event, at Governor Mark's office, straight up in one of my dashikis. So I walk in and Henry goes, and he's like, why am I meeting with this dude? So he goes, all right, so you want to be an anchor? Nope. You want to be a reporter? Nope. And now he's confused. He's like, what do you want to be? So I describe what I wanted to be. Now, mind you, what I'm describing doesn't exist at the time. So I was literally, and I've been this way my whole career, I was literally 7 years ahead of where we eventually got to. And I described it, and that was the deal. And so he goes, all right, well, we can book you on a few shows. I said, no, bro, let me help you out. I said, I don't want you to be seen as arrogant. I said, well, let me be real clear. I just need y'all to book me one time. He looked at me, I said, you book me one time, I guarantee y'all gonna book me again. And this is exactly how I looked at him. And hearing Malden looked at me, I said, one time, I can guarantee you are going to book me again. And so they booked me on CNN's Talk Back Live, lit that shit up. Got booked again. I did straight up. You can call Henry Malden today or Mark Watts today. They will tell you that's exactly what I said. And a year later, I made several appearances, and we were at a Black Journalist Convention, and we were telling the story, and I said, Henry, didn't I tell you book me one time? He like, yeah, you did. And he said, and I thought you were arrogant and cocky as hell. I said, was I lying? He said, no, you were not lying. And that's the whole deal. So when you know what your gifting is, when you know what you're going to do, bruh, what did Joe Namath say? He said, what did Joe said? He said, it ain't arrogant if you can do it.
That's tough.
Dude.
That's right.
So that's the deal. When you know, that's why, man, the other day I saw this story, Jim Jones was complaining because Dipset, we need a second battle with the Locks because we weren't ready. Oh man, the stage was too busy. We need more security, we need more space. No, bro. When you can bring that heat, you can bring that heat in a phone booth or in Madison Square Garden. That's the deal. When you know what you can do, you ain't worried about space. You don't care about the temperature. You don't care if it's too hot, too cold. You don't care if it's packed, if it's small. All you say is, let me know when that red light on that camera come on.
Do you understand that you just talked about Jim Jones? Because I was like, where's he going with this?
Dude, I saw that story.
Jim Jones and the Locks. Like, ain't nobody expecting you to know about the Dipset.
But that's the first thing when I saw that story and I saw they battle. That's the first thing I said that story. I was like, no, y'all asses weren't ready. Y'all asses weren't prepared. No, which means, dude, when you got it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you can hoop, you can say, I can hoop at this park in the hood, or I can hoop at Madison Square Garden. It doesn't matter. That's why I try to explain to people why you got to always be on your game. When you're talking about, why do I read so much? Why do I study so much? Why do I want to have a photographic memory that when I'm reading a book, I can have instant recall to facts? I gave a speech once. I don't even write speeches. I just asked how much time I got. And I actually quoted from 14 different books in my speech. I didn't realize I quoted from 14 different books. The library of North Carolina State put a reading list out of all the books I mentioned in my 1 hour speech, and it was 14 different books. That's the piece. The thing is, when you're prepared and ready, you don't know when the moment hits. So here's what happened at CNN. I'm doing appearances for 4.5 years. They calling me. You call me, boom, I'm there on a moment's notice. I'm at NABJ in Dallas on a panel talking about how to always be ready as a television commentator. While sitting on the panel, CNN calls me. I'm not even working there. CNN calls me. I leave the panel to race to the studio for a live hit. That's the topic of the panel. And we're discussing how you always got to be ready because you never know when the call comes. The call literally comes while I'm sitting on the panel. I'm like, yo, I got to bounce. I'm on TV. I'm literally on TV in a 15 minutes later. I'm on TV. So 4.5 years go by. I do CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. And here's Fox News. I did Bill O'Reilly's show 4 or 5 times. Bill O'Reilly never raised his voice at me. Never. You know why? Bill was like, He looking at camera, he like, I'm gonna leave this one alone. I'm gonna leave this one alone. Now, I ain't messing with this one. Because, and again, you can say arrogant or cocky. Bill O'Reilly knew, I ain't ready for this. I ain't ready for this.
While we're talking about Bill O'Reilly, what's your thoughts on him getting fired in 17?
He should have got fired. He should have long got fired. That place was a cesspool of sexism and racism. But again, but he's a white man who made them millions of dollars, so they allowed it to happen. They didn't care. And so we ain't gonna get the same breaks in these newsrooms because it ain't ours. That's just a fact. Okay? So when you talk about, and see, again, this is where too many of us get so locked in. So 4.5 years go by, finally CNN calls me. And mind you, I was doing somebody else's pilot. So they shot a pilot. They were looking at this sister as a host. So they had me and this white conservative Steve Malsberg. All right. Now, again, it's a pilot. I'm not working for CNN. We trying to land a deal, but so we doing a pilot. She started going at it with him over some silly shit. It didn't make any sense to me. I stay level-headed. I'm killing my arguments. My shit is tight. Boom, boom, boom. Guess what? President of the network is in the control room. He goes, who is that? It wasn't my pilot. It was her pilot. I shined in her pilot. I got hired. She never got hired. So what I'm saying is, when you got to always be on your game because you don't know who's watching when you're doing your thing. That was December 2006. We came to a deal 2-3 weeks later. And boom, I'm started February 2007. And so we go through the run. And again, same thing. So you walking in there. So all these folks like, yo, who the hell is this dude? We hired some radio host out of Chicago. And I remember, man, we were doing one of the, this was when the election came around, the primaries, and Stephanie Katubi was one of the bookers. And she was like, we just thought, you were just some radio host from Chicago who knew Obama. I said, do any of y'all know how to read resumes? See, this is 2000. So this is 2007. She and I having this conversation in 2008. Mind you, I graduated college December 1991. Bruh, I'm in the game 16 years. I'm like, I ain't just show up to this shit. What are y'all talking about? I had already been managing editor of the Houston Defender, the Dallas Weekly, the Chicago Defender, award-winning reporter from Austin American Statesman, Fort Worth Star Telegram. I'd already run Tom Jones' BlackAmericaWeb.com, had been at Savoy Magazine, had covered all sorts of stories, was a part of our team that covered the Branch Davidian standoff in Waco when it got burned down. I was on the ground as a lead reporter, the co-lead reporter for when Timothy McVeigh blew up the Afro-Pete Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. Bruh, graduated from college in December 1991, got 3 promotions in a year and a half. Okay, became one of the youngest news directors in the country when I took over at KKDA Radio in Dallas. That was my resume before CNN. Before CNN. So these cats, like, they don't know who they're dealing with. And so that was the thing, man. And so when you, but what I tell people, you always got to be in position to be ready. And then how do you build relationships? So what happens? Obama runs. I get Obama, straight up, this would trust me, I get Obama to do one of the pilots. They got me hosted doing a pilot. We had 4 different pilots. So the sister Joseanne Lopez, she says, Roland, we need a big name. I was like, anybody bigger than Senator Obama? Now, mind you, he'd already announced he's running for president. He's the hottest thing in the country. She was like, you think you can get Senator Obama to agree to a panel, agree to a pilot? I was like, hell yeah, I can. And I did. So, man, so we shoot this pilot. And I remember I made a comment in the pilot about healthcare, and I brought up bankruptcy and how I filed for bankruptcy. My appendix ruptured in 2000, covered the Democratic National Convention, and how I didn't have any health insurance. And I said, man, that hurt a bruh. So I remember one of the executives at CNN, Ken Giles, who's still there. And Ken and I got along great, but he actually said this. I went to his office as we were going over he goes, be careful using words like brother. We don't want to scare off white viewers. And look at his ass.
He actually told you that?
Straight up. I looked at his ass like. Then he tells me he showed the pilot to his wife and she agreed. And I'm thinking, ooh, the white wife agreed. I'm like, dude, really? I'm like, we got Larry King over here giving Yiddish statements, all kind of stuff. And you tripping because I said, bruh, straight up. I said, bruh. I said, man, these folks are a trip. So Obama agrees with the pilot. So, man, we get to the election. So this is the first night. It's Iowa. Cats out of D.C., they always ran the political stuff. They wasn't feeling a brother at all. They didn't want to use me because I didn't get hired through D.C. I got hired through program development in New York. Okay, so the D.C. cats didn't know me. I didn't meet their standards or whatever the hell, so they didn't want to use me. So I remember me and Bill Bennett were on CNN that afternoon. I was killing his ass. I'm talking about killing Bill. We were in the fourth floor studio. There was a partition. He was on the other side, and I'm just destroying his ass. And so then we walked up the set. He was like, "Damn, you got me good there." I was like, "I damn sure did." And so Sam Feist, who's the number 2, who's now the number 1 bureau chief. So Sam comes down to walk Bill upstairs to show him the studio. I'm standing right there. So I was like, well, shit, I'm going to follow their ass to the damn studio. So I'm walking behind them, and I was supposed to be debating James Carville that night, but they had pulled them off the air because they were advising Hillary Clinton on some stuff. So I was like, yo, what's up between me and James? Oh, no. Sam goes, and we'll figure something out, like this blow off. And I was like, okay. So, man, we see in the studio, the hustle and bustle. So, man, I got an office there. So they don't even tell me, man, what time the food come. So I stumble upon that. So by 6 o'clock, I'm trying to find out what the exit polling data. Ain't nobody helping me with that. I was like, oh, okay, that's how we doing. But I ain't tripping. So, man, by 7 o'clock hits, we live. So we all the contributors, we down there. So they got the A team on. So, man, we sitting there chilling. 8 o'clock comes. Ain't nobody called coach. Ain't nobody put me in the game. Sitting on the bench. Okay, I'm chilling. All right. 9 o'clock comes. Ain't nobody put me in the game. Coach ain't even looking my way. Okay. So I'm sitting there, so now reports start coming in and they like, oh, early Obama's in the lead, whatever the heck. And one of the reporters on air, she says, Obama, we know he's here in Iowa. Not sure where he's at right now. He's having dinner with family and friends and the staff right now. That's what I typed, sent them an email. They're like, oh, really? So then they're like, so he wins. Then they're like, so we're not sure when Obama's going to be coming to the convention center. He's going to be leaving dinner in 20 minutes. Send an email. So Katubi comes over. She goes, oh, my God, where you getting this from? I said, the person sitting next to his ass at dinner. If y'all asses put me on TV, y'all would know this shit versus me telling you off air. And so then all of a sudden, then it comes in. It's coming in. So now Obama wins. Oh, my God. Place goes crazy. Black man wins Iowa. And so they like a dog in the heat trying to get him on air. Roland, anybody you can get Obama for a beeper? Now, what a beeper means is basically him calling to the studio, not being on camera. I was like, yeah, I'll try. So I call Candace Owens, who was one of the press folks. And I said, CNN wants Obama. I said, they ain't put my ass on TV all night. I said, if you motherfuckers put him on the air, I'm not on, I'm going to beat the shit out of y'all. Don't your ass put him on the air. She's like, Roland, he is not doing any TV other than he's giving his speech. He's doing nothing. I was like, good. Hung up. Now, Stephanie finally going into control room. She's like, yo, we need to get this dude on the air. He got inside information we ain't got. So John Klein goes, well, get him on the air. So finally get him on the air. I think I probably got on that night for 1 minute and 37 seconds. Whole night. 1 minute 37. All right. So next day, Obama wins. He does. Now, I had already gotten word he's going to give me an interview at 2 p.m. for WVON radio. We had a morning show. Well, first of all, That's in the afternoon. My morning show already over. So man, I'm sitting there and I'm like, so Obama does one interview on the day after he wins Iowa, the history-making win. He does one interview, me. So now I'm sitting in my office like, some bitches barely put me on TV last night, blew me off. I'm like, I need to get back at their ass. How we gonna do this? And so then it occurred to me, I said, wait a minute. I said, I can do Obama. I can do a phoner. I said, they wanted a beeper last night. Why don't I have Obama call a control room? I do the interview from the same spot Wolf stood in last night, and we do the radio interview like it's a TV interview, and we run the audio on radio, and then CNN gonna run this on TV because Obama ain't talked to nobody all day. I go to John Klein, the president of CNN US. Loves it. They got this exclusive. No, he did not, no one. He had lost his voice, but he still did the interview. So what happens? It's exactly what happens. So, the DC people are hyped. Oh my God, we got an exclusive. So they call me, Roland, can we call this, it was Patricia DiCarlo. Hey, can we call this a CNN exclusive? No. You can call this a Roland Martin WVON radio exclusive. You only get to run it because I also work here. That's what happened. Interview runs, I go to John Klein's office. He goes, you know what? I think I'm going to go put a bug in Sam's ear to be sure to get you some more airtime come Tuesday for New Hampshire. That's why that night, that Tuesday, that's when I was on at 7:00 and was on the A team the entire election because that's what happened. The moral of the story is, first of all, don't get frustrated. Don't get upset. Get even. Show them who you are, show them your skill set, and when it's time to deliver the punch, you deliver a clean punch and you will score a clean knockout. And that's exactly what happened. And that thing happened, and that's how that thing began to build, and that's how all his folks learned about me. I taught them about politics, and to this day, people come up to me, people who have run for office, who say, I learned politics watching you when Obama ran. To this day, people still come up to me saying I was a kid. I didn't know anything about this stuff, and I learned it because of you. Brothers who were in prison have come up to me. People who are in other countries have done the exact same thing. And the thing was, before I got hired, I sat in the lobby. It was CNN Center was on Columbus Circle. And I sat in that lobby, and this is exactly what I said. God, if it is your will for me to be at CNN at this time in history, make it happen. That was the literal prayer I said sitting in the lobby. And that's actually what happened. But I also knew I was never going to be there forever. So while I was there, people don't understand. All these people out here, oh man, Roland got black, we love CNN. I was with TV.
No, you was at TV One during the same.
I was with TV One.
Yep.
3 years before CNN. I didn't leave TV One. I joined Tom Joyner in October 2008. John Klein literally asked me in 2009, well, you could be doing all this other stuff, this TV One, Tom Joyner stuff. They wanted me to leave. They wanted me to focus solely on CNN. And I said no.
Why? Why was that?
Because this is what I said. He says, it was an Italian restaurant across from CNN in One Columbus Circle. He goes, and me and John got along great. We still do. Were you going to give up all this other stuff, TV One and Tom Joyner and all these speeches and everything and focus just on CNN? I said, when are you going to give me a 5-day-a-week show? See, when I negotiated my deal at CNN, I had a 2-tier contract. I had a contributor contract and a show host contract. We negotiated both up front. So if I became a show host, I was going to get paid $600,000 first year. We already had the contract. And I was like, you're going to make a 5-day-a-week host. Then I said that I might think about it. See, this is the thing that people understand. Going back to high school, I always understood the power of having access to a platform. So yes, CNN was CNN in 200 countries, but they could still say no. But I had TV One. And then what happened, I knew I was ready because I'll never forget when I did 4 pilots, I was not ready to host a show. And I remember sitting in September 2008, sitting down with, September 2007, sitting down with Jim Walton. And he had a pair of boxing gloves. I think it was signed by Muhammad Ali. And on his desk, he said, I'm going to use a boxing analogy. He says, we think that you're a better counter puncher than puncher. I said, I know. I said, I want you to get me with your talent coaches, and I want you to give them the notes of all the things that I need to do to improve. And that's what I'm going to work on. So when I come back, I'm ready to host. He called my agent. He was like, the meeting didn't go like I thought it was going to go. I was always aware of my skill set, of what I was good at, what I was not good at. So I knew in 2007 I wasn't ready to host a show. Then after that, he said, we need to try some other pilots. I knew in 2008 I was ready. I knew I was ready to host a weekly show. When I went to them, I remember Obama wins, Glenn Beck leaves, I send them an email. I said, I want that slot. John Klein calls me, I'm in the airport. Hey, here's our plan. We're gonna have you as like, they put a plan together real quick. I was gonna be the backup to Campbell Brown, whatever. Well, here's the problem. Didn't nobody know Campbell Brown was gonna announce the next week she was pregnant. So what happened was they already announced I was gonna be filling in for her. So boom, she announced she's pregnant. So then I got the 2-month fill-in stint when she went on maternity leave. The problem is that it was an awful experience because they didn't let me do me. They stripped me of who I was, didn't let me. And then, in matter of fact, Jim Walton, to his credit, after the 2-month stint ended in the end of May 2009, I met with him in September. He said, we did you no favors. He said, we sold you. He said, we built you and build you as one thing, and we sold you as another. He said, the ratings of that show would not be held against you here. Well, actually, they were held against me. They were held against me internally and externally. It said, oh, Roland Martin can host a nightly show on prime time and it won't do well. But it wasn't Roland Martin. The format changed 3 times in 4 weeks. It was all over the place. There was no consistency. I wasn't doing me. I felt like I was in a straitjacket with duct tape and handcuffs on. That's what it felt like. The last show, if there was a flight out of New York at 11 p.m. that night, I would have been on it. I wanted no parts of CNN, no parts of New York, because it was a horrible experience. Because I knew sitting there, I couldn't do me. And so I knew, and then during that period, they said, hey, they had talked about launching a weekly show. So the plan was for me to fill in for her, and after that, they would launch a weekly show. They tell me, oh, because of economics. Well, that was bullshit because I already had a sponsor. I had gotten my own main sponsor. Southwest Airlines was going to be the sponsor of the show. I already had them locked up. The ad agency was going to buy it. So I knew that. I talked to them. So that's when I called. I was 100 feet out of John Klein's office, and I called John the Routers at TV One. I said, CNN's not going to give me a weekly show. He said, well, they're not going to give you one. We're going to give you one. And in July, at Essence, we announced Washington Watching TV One, and we launched that sucker September 2009. So I knew later, why did I not leave my other stuff behind? Because I knew you had to have an outlet. So if one says no, they would say yes. And if they say no, and they say no, they can say yes. And that's the piece. Never ever be in a position where somebody can say no to your dream and it goes nowhere. And so why is YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, why is this now so important? Because when I wasn't waiting for someone to say, Roland can host a show. So when Washington Watch transitioned to News One Now from a weekly to a daily, News One Now lasted 4 years. When News One Now ended, I wasn't going to sit around and hope MSNBC call or CNN will call back or somebody else will call. Like, no, I'm going to launch and create my own. And that's exactly what I did. That's the problem for so many people. They are waiting. This is where white validation comes in. They're waiting for somebody to validate them. Say, you're now good enough. Now Now we've tapped you. You can do it. When what I did was I tapped myself. That's why we go from one show, 1 hour to 2 hours. And now I go from one show to my own network. Now I got 5 other shows on the network. Now I got 3-4 shows in development, and we're building the network. We're now on we're now on Amazon News. We're launching on the Amazon Freebie. We're negotiating with 5 other distribution platforms. All this is in 4.5 years. 4.5 years. Again, that's 4.5 years, which was 6 years after I left CNN. I left CNN in April 2013. We launched News One Now in November 2013. News One Now ends December 2017. Folks are like, oh my God, man, please go back to CNN, MSNBC. Why? Why do I want to ask somebody permission? Can I go cover this story? No, I'm good. I can do it myself.
You know, you mentioned a couple of times in this interview, Obama, then a Senator Obama who went on to be President Obama 2 terms. What's your relationship like with him today?
I don't have one. I mean, look, here's the deal. Obama didn't like black criticism. He didn't like black criticism. He didn't like it at all. He didn't like it when he was a state senator, when he was a U.S. senator. I remember when then State Senator James Meeks, Reverend James Meeks, pastor Salem Baptist Church, got into a confrontation with a cop, and it was a huge story all over Chicago. And all the other members of Congress talked about it in Chicago. Obama didn't. So I remember writing an editorial in the Chicago Defender lambasting him. Man, he called me the next day, livid, hot. And I was like, but did you call him? Oh, well, I was letting other members of Congress because, when I speak, I get all the attention. And I was like, but did you call him? Did you call and check on him? He hadn't. I knew he hadn't. I had talked to Reverend James Meeks. And so I called him out. He called him after the call line. People like, damn, dog, you call out Senator Obama? Yes. Ain't nobody beyond getting hit. Nobody. So I remember when he became president, I wrote a column blasting the lack of black people in his press office. And I remember Valerie Jarrett called me, and she was like, I left the Oval Office. The president, he's upset. I'm like, why are you mad? Because Robert Gibbs came in waving your column, and the president saw it. He said, attack on his press office is attack on him. I was like, okay. She's like, what should we do? I said, go tell them to hire some more black people. She was like, I said, Valerie, let me ask you a question. Did I not tell you during the campaign that if your press office is as white as your campaign staff, we would have a problem? Yes. Did I tell you I would call y'all out? Yes. Why are you calling me? I did exactly what I told you I was going to do. I said, tell the president to go hire some more black people. That was the conversation. So the big thing for me is I'm going to be true to who I am. I'm going to rep black people. I'm going to fight for black people. I'm going to fight for black-owned media. So I was doing exactly what I was supposed to do. I was not there to be friends with President Obama. I wasn't there to be friends with First Lady Michelle Obama. I was there to cover the presidency, and I was going to be advocating on behalf of black folks. When I was advocating hard for him to appoint a black woman to the Supreme Court after Justice Antonin Scalia died, I was hardcore with it, and I did not care. As a matter of fact, when I wrote a column when he appointed Justice Elaine Kagan, and I blasted on CNN.com. Remember, Anita Dunn stopped me outside of the White House and was upset with me, and I was like, Anita, what do you think I do? I said, I don't work for him. I work for my audience. I'm representing my audience. I said, so I don't care if y'all are upset. So I got one interview with Obama when he was president and First Lady. It was in 2009, 2010.
Is that the interviews you got the 2 NAACP?
No, I got those during the campaign. So that was so when he was running, I got those.
So you got the Image Awards for
those. I won TV1's first 2 Image Awards.
Yep.
For those interviews. We never got an exit interview. And the one I probably was the most disappointed on was First Lady Michelle Obama, because she personally told me in 2015 at Congressional Black Caucus Foundation AOC, on the rope line, and she says, Roland, She said, I want you to know you're on my list. You and I are going to sit down again before we get out of here. I was like, all right, bet. Okay. So I sent Tina Chin, her chief of staff, an email. And at that Christmas party in 2015, Tina said, you probably were asking her about it. I was like, no, actually, I wasn't. She volunteered it. I didn't say anything. So 2016, we were on a rope line, same dinner. And I think my wife or one of my nieces were there. So I had one of my small little cameras. And the first lady, she says it again. This time I got it on video. So I sent Tina an email. I said, she did it again. And she said, you and I are going to sit down again before we get out of here. So that was September 2016. I remember sending emails to her staff in October and November. And they were like, sorry, we just don't have the time. And I was like, I'm sorry, this was her idea. This was hers. And it never happened. That probably was the most disappointed one of my 8 years of the Obama presidency. Because Michelle Obama promised 2 consecutive years to me, without any prompting, without me asking, that she and I were going to sit down and do an interview, and it never happened. And I was extremely disappointed. And I remember I told a number of people, including Attorney General Eric Holder, that I was disappointed by that, because I felt, and I still feel, it was important for them leaving to sit down and do exit interviews with Black-owned media. And I don't think anybody did. I think the only person who got, Ta-Nehisi Coates had 4 or 5 interviews for the PCD in the Atlantic with Obama. I don't think that was a sit down interview with Black-owned media by President Obama or First Lady Michelle Obama. And so yeah, that was probably the most disappointing, because literally she told me 2 consecutive years, we are sitting down. I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. It never happened. So I never got it. And look, here's the deal. I say this publicly. I never got invited to the birthday parties, the last Black party. People were texting me from the party like, dude, where you at? I didn't get invited, but I wasn't tripping, because here's the deal. I knew what my job was. So it wasn't like, oh man, I ain't get invited to the private birthday parties. I wasn't there to be friends. I was there covering the administration. And so since he left office, I haven't had the only time I've even seen either one of them, Michelle Obama did Essence with Gayle King, and I didn't see it because I was backstage chopping up with Nas in the dressing room while she was on stage. And when they pushed even though we had backstage credentials, the Secret Service pushed all of us back. And I remember she was coming off stage, and I yelled to her, hello. And then she looked up and she goes, where's the ascot? Because I had one of my African outfits on. And I sent word to one of her staffers, I would love just to say hello to her, whatever. But she eventually left. I never got a chance to. So my job, and again, this ain't about friendship. My job was to cover, and that's what it was. My job was to cover those 8 years of the presidency. And I think a lot of times people lose sight of why they're there. I wasn't there to be buddy-buddy with the first Black president. I was there to cover the 44th president.
I had the opportunity to sit down with Tavis Smiley, and I asked him a very similar question, and he gave me a very similar answer as you just gave. So it was very interesting to get both of you guys' perspective on pushing the president to do better by our people.
But again, so here's what happened. Black people, there were 2 things that were happening simultaneously. He was the first Black president, but he was the 44th president. The problem, the phrase that I use is Black people got stuck at the inauguration parade and we never left. What
do you think? And I'm so sorry to interject, because I got to go here for a second.
Yeah.
What do you think about someone like Dr. Cornel West?
Oh, I could tell you. I interviewed Cornell when that stuff was happening. How Cornell criticized President Obama is why it was so screwed up. So what I mean by that is, and I said this to him on my show, I said to him multiple times, I believe the mistake that you made was bringing up the inauguration tickets. You made it look petty versus about policy. It wasn't about, so again, for me, I'm not going to go, well, they didn't invite me to the private birthday parties. Whatever. I wasn't there for the private birthday parties. I was there. Now, why was I upset I didn't get an exit interview with either one of them? Because it's an exit interview. It was to talk about 8 years of African Americans, advancements, what could have been done. That's the job. I said to Dr. Cornell, my alpha brother, I said, you bringing up the inauguration tickets, that's what tainted your criticism because it sounded personal. It sounded petty. And that was the piece. See, there's a difference between offering a critique and being critical and being reckless. I thought the way that Dr. West and Tavis, the way they criticized Obama was wrong. But here's the deal, though. And I got it on tape. The day before the inauguration, I hosted an event at Howard University. CNN wanted me to be live from the mall in Washington, but Spike Lee's ad agency had hired me to moderate a panel at Howard University. And on the panel was Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., Reverend Al Sharpton, Donna Brazile. There were several others, and Dr. West. And on the panel, and I have the video, Dr. Cornel West said, there's a difference between a thermometer and a thermostat. And he said, a thermostat tells you what the temperature is. A thermometer does that. He said, but a thermostat, we can adjust it. He said, we're going to love that brother. We're going to support that brother, but we're going to put some heat on that brother. That's what West said the day before he was inaugurated. So that was the only issue I had. Offering a critique on policy, absolutely appropriate. Absolutely what should have been done. But when you invoke the inauguration tickets, that's when it became personal. And you can't let personal get in way of the critique because that's how people dismissed it. And so tone also plays a role in how you actually do it. And I think that was a deal as well. And I think that was, and again, Dr. West and I have had this conversation. And if I'm correct, he actually agreed with me on that one. Tavis and I haven't talked to Tavis. Last time I talked to Tavis was when his April 4th book came out on MLK. But I thought that was their mistake. You had to have been sensitive to your Black audience at that time. Tone plays a huge role. If you go back and look at the critiques that I offered on President Obama, it was right tone and temperature for the audience. Because the audience, and look, Black leadership was hamstrung in those 8 years, and Obama knew it. Obama knew they couldn't, I never forget, Obama knew they couldn't criticize him because he knew they had no troops behind him. He gave an interview with April Ryan. Danny Glover had criticized him, and I remember he told April, oh, I could line up a whole slew of Black celebrities on my side. He knew that. And so the CBC knew it, civil rights groups knew it, because people were so sensitive. No, we can't hurt the brother. And then it was like, we can't ask for nothing because, if we ask for something, white folks may not vote for him a second time. And I never forget, I was at a dinner in Miami, man, and it's like 20 black people, multiple degrees, high net worth. And I said, I'm confused. Y'all letting some white folks you ain't never meet dictate what we should be asking for because y'all scared they might not vote for him if he runs again when he ain't guaranteed to be elected. So I think that was the case there. And so for me, my criticism was exactly what it was supposed to be. I pushed him the way I was supposed to because, again, I appreciated and admired the fact that he was the first black president. But I did not forget that he was the 44th. And we should have demanded from the 44th what we demanded from the previous 43.
Understood. You mentioned 2016 a little earlier in the conversation. I'm going to go back to that year. And this is a controversial moment in your career. POLITICO.
Mm-hmm.
They said that you leaked or you revealed questions to the former DNC chair, Donna Brazile,
Mm-hmm.
Who then leaked those same questions to Hillary Clinton's camp.
Yeah, I had Donna on my TV One show talking about it. So here's actually what happened. First of all, I never wanted to do a town hall with CNN. Never wanted to do anything with them. I advocated from the beginning we should do our own. We should do a black-owned media town hall. We didn't need CNN. We didn't need them there with us. And so, to her credit, Joyce Beatty made it clear to the Democrats, y'all gonna do something with black-owned media outlet. And CNN did not want to do it with anybody. But she said, y'all ain't getting this Ohio town hall unless y'all do it with TV One and Roland Martin. That's what happened. That was Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. So that's how we got a part of it. I never felt that they treated us as an equal partner. They put up, and the deal was this here. They spent $500,000 on the town hall. We spent $50,000. But the reality is, and here's my whole deal. Well, if you look at the profits of CNN, your profits are $1 billion. TV One was doing $100 million in revenue. So $50,000 to TV One was $500,000 to CNN. So it was equal. And so it was. So and I'll never forget when we had to go rehearse. They had me at rehearsal. Jake Tapper wasn't there. And then he came in. They brought him in after the fact. And then, I remember they were rolling the script, and they had he was going to open the show on stage by himself. And I never forget, I told Brad Siegel, our president, I said, be very careful with CNN. I said, when that town hall starts, I better be center stage with CNN. I knew what they were going to try to pull. And what they tried to do was they tried to have him open the town hall by himself. And I was going to be in the wings. And then, brother, I said, hell no. I said, when he opens that town hall, I'm going to be standing right there. I said, I can read from that same damn teleprompter he reading from. And I never forget during the rehearsals when it was over, when they told us what was going to happen at the end. So at the end, we're going to toss, there was some town hall documentary they were airing. I was like, well, I'm live from the Student Center tomorrow. I'll mention that. They said, oh, we don't promote other networks. I said, my artists don't give a shit about your documentary. I said, so if y'all gonna mention your stuff, I'm mentioning my stuff. Y'all better put it in the script. And so what ended up happening, straight up. So what ended up happening was D'Angela Proctor was our senior exec. She called Brad. She said, yo, we got a problem. Roland's hot. And I was hot. I said, man, y'all not gonna disrespect us. They didn't even want to let our own TV One photographer into the venue. I said, oh, hell no. Your photographer gets in, our photographer gets in. And I remember when I came back, we had one of the digital guys that was with me. And so we rolled back, and people stopped me at the door, asked me for credentials. I said, you ain't asking Jake or Anderson for no damn credentials. I said, man, let's keep walking. So again, I was not about to be subservient to them. So that was a backstory that folk don't realize what was also going on. And in fact, I remember they ran a promo that morning where our name was in really small, town hall hosted by CNN's Jake Tapper. in really small letters with TV1. You could barely see it. And they had been criticized earlier by ABC for doing the exact same thing, okay? But they insisted in all of our promos, it was equal billing, CNN, TV1, Roland Martin, Jake Tapper. So what I had done is I had reached out to several black people before the deal saying, hey, I want some black questions. What would you ask? What would you ask during this town hall? I reached out to Eddie Glaude, Dr. Greg Carr. I remember DeRay. I remember Brittany Pagnett, Donna as well. So I reached out to different people. And I remember working with them on, I remember Eddie sent this long ass question. I'm like, Eddie, we got to edit this question. And so we worked back and forth. And so that was one of the education questions I submitted. And so Donna decided to reveal the question. That to me was problematic. It was wrong because it was an infringement on our friendship, which I felt was more important than her role with the DNC. Her friendship with Hillary did not matter. Roland did not say, Donna, send this. Never would. First of all, the only reason CNN wanted us to submit questions, I normally don't even write questions. I don't sit down and write questions. I ask my questions in the moment. When I did the town hall with Hillary Clinton at Claflin. That's what I did. I didn't write questions. I allowed the moment to sort of drive what I do. But that's what happened. She sent the question. I don't care if it was revealed in the WikiLeaks. The question should have never been sent. But again, as I said, I talked to multiple people about what questions you would want asked, what would you like to ask, and that's how I put together a list of questions. All the other people, nobody else revealed any of the questions. She did. That was absolutely wrong. And there's no doubt that doing that had an impact on our relationship. No doubt whatsoever.
What would you say her motivation was to?
I mean, good. She was looking out for her candidate. She was the DNC chair, and that was the deal. But here's the deal. Roles reversed. If Donna gave something to me in confidence, I would not have revealed it to anybody because that's the relationship. When you have a relationship with somebody, you don't share those things. I don't care who it is. I don't care. I had relationships with many people in the Obama administration. If Obama asked me something about one of those people, I don't care who he is. I would not have revealed something somebody else told me. Would not have done it. So, but that's what happened. There were multiple people who I was communicating with about questions, and we worked on those questions, and that's actually what happened. Did I reveal it? Hell no. Would I have ever revealed it? Hell no. I didn't even want to write any questions. I didn't want to write any questions. Ask anybody. I don't do questions. Any interview that I do, I don't sit down. I'm not sitting down. No, that's not how I operate. But that's what happened. And it was absolutely wrong. It was absolutely wrong. And she came on my show, my TV1 show, explain what she did, how it was wrong, but not at any. And now, has it hurt me? Of course it's hurt me. Of course people, oh my God, he revealed it. Nope. Ain't no way in hell would I reveal questions to Hillary Clinton. Man, listen. Michael Irvin was convicted. This is people need to understand. Michael Irvin pled guilty. I broke the Michael Irvin drug story when I was at KKDA Radio, when he got busted with the drugs in the hotel room with Alfredo Roberts, Jasmine Nabwangu, Angela Beck. Still know the names. So I broke that story at KKDA Radio. And I never forget when Michael pled nolo contendere, and he did the plea bargain. And I remember we reached out to Reverend Tony Evans, wanted to interview him at KKDA Radio. And Reverend Tony Evans' secretary asked me to submit questions to Reverend Tony Evans. And I said, absolutely not. Bruh, that's in the 90s. You actually think I'm going to submit some damn questions to the Hillary Clinton campaign? Nah, that was Donna, and it was absolutely wrong. That's what happened.
Okay, so needless to say, you're not being invited to any of Donna Brazil's Christmas parties.
I've seen Donna communicate, but I mean, has our relationship changed? Of course it has.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Just as a spectator, I mean, we love both of you guys, and we loved you both as CNN and what you guys did for the community. So it's kind of sad to hear how it really went down.
Yeah, but that's what happened. But the deal is, it should not have happened. I don't care what position you're in. Submitting that was an infringement upon our relationship.
That is correct.
And so just like if I reveal something deeply personal or whatever that she revealed to me, she would not be happy with it. That's why it's important upon people. Again, you understand boundaries of relationships. And again, look, there are things that I know that very high-profile people have told me nobody else knows. And if it's a high-profile person who's revealed something to me, if their wife asked me about it, I'm gonna be stone-faced. I don't care if it's their wife or their sibling. That's something that I have with that individual and not anybody else. So
I'm clear. So needless to say, you don't condone snitching in the community.
Oh, no, let me be perfectly clear. No, that's not snitching. If somebody's committing an act against the community, if somebody's killed somebody, oh, you got to go. I think there's a fundamental problem in our community when we know people who have committed wrongdoing and we are silent about it, but then we complain about the wrongdoing in our community. So I think that is absolutely ridiculous. We have there are morals and values as an individual, and so there's a difference between if somebody killed, harmed, raped someone. That's different than somebody revealing something to you in confidence. That's where trust comes in. That's even biblical. Word is bond. Remember David and Jonathan in the Bible. Remember Jonathan on 3 separate occasions asked David, in the event anything happens to me on the battlefield, you are going to take care of my family and my descendants. David made the covenant. David made the covenant with Jonathan. Jonathan gets killed. David becomes king, and David says, "Who is left from the house of Jonathan?" And they said, "Mephibosheth," which was his son. And he said, "Go get Mephibosheth. As long as I'm king, you will eat at the king's table." That's where word is bond, covenant comes from. So when you have a friendship, I don't care who it is, I don't care, and someone reveals something to you in confidence, whether they say this is in confidence or not, it is simply implied based upon your relationship, then you are to keep that silent. That is different to me when somebody commits an heinous act. That's actually different. We have a problem in our community when we are seeing things happen where people have been harmed and we are silent about that, and knowing full well those folks who have actually, they haven't just harmed an individual, they've actually harmed the community, because you taking somebody's life, that impacts not just them, that impacts their family, their bloodline. It has other ramifications as well.
You know, I actually asked you that question, or I made the comment in jest, but I'm so happy you took it serious and broke it down the way that you did, and gave your because this community is plagued by quote unquote snitching, and you know the way you just so eloquently put it. I pray to God that this portion of the interview goes viral because so many people in our community got it all backwards. They got it
Yeah,
so
we yell no
messed up.
snitching, but we want cops to turn in cops. So you can't be critical of a blue wall if you're not critical of a black wall. The bottom line is wrong is wrong. Thank God Daniel Ellsberg snitched what is now known as the Pentagon Papers. I mean, thank God people have snitched who are whistleblowers who have talked about cancer companies that dump toxins in landfills and in waterways that have impacted environmental racism. So thank God folks snitched on those companies in many ways without whistleblowers. A whistleblower ain't no different than somebody we calling a snitch. That's just a different level. It's the exact same thing, but it is something that's real, and I think we have to take it seriously because it has a negative impact on our community.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Okay, I got to talk about your book, White Fear. First and foremost, it's a hell of a title, White Fear: How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds.
Yes, I did write both the main head and the second one.
What is it? I mean, it's damn near self-explanatory, but I'm gonna ask you. I got to do it as a journalist. What was the motivation behind writing this book and that title?
Easy. I literally have been talking about this very thing since 2009. There was a study that was released in 2009, was around Obama's inauguration, and the question was asked, are you optimistic about the future of America for your children? Every group except white people, a majority said yes. And I saw it, I went, See, some people can take stuff that's on surface level, and they can be, as Kathy Hughes uses her phrase, they ain't deeper than mustard on a hot dog. Or you can now say, hold up, what is this actually saying? And I never forget reading that, and I began to really think about it and began to look at other different things. And we were at CNN, and John Allen and I were waiting to go on. And John had written a book called Wing Nuts and all kind of stuff like that. So we were talking, and I said to John, John, we're living in the beginning stages of white minority resistance. He was like, I said, even though white folks are still the majority of people in this country, we are about to see, with this inauguration of Obama, we're about to see white minority resistance. And so what then happens? Glenn Beck goes on, I think Obama hates white people. And then the Tea Party, and then the whole resistance to him. And then, the folks sending around the images of Michelle Obama and him as monkeys and all kind of stuff along those lines. And so I then began just to look at the politics and the discourse and just begin just to watch different pieces. And then I remember reading a story, and it may have been in Newsweek or Time, and it said at that time, the white death rate in 10 states was higher than the annual white birth rate. And I was like, uh-oh. And I started thinking about 2043. So when the story first dropped that America one day is going to be a nation majority of people of color, man, that was about 35 years ago. And I remember when it came out because I think it was supposed to be like 2060, 2055. That was going to be the case. So people were like, man, that's so far away. I'm going to be dead. But what happened? White people stopped having babies. You start looking at the birth rates for African Americans and for Latinos. Then you start factoring in immigration. All of a sudden, that went from 2060 to 2055, 2052, 2050, 2048, 2045, then 2043. So it's like, whoa. It was a huge shrink. Then it was like by 2039, the majority of the working force in America is going to be people of color. And then you start looking at the demographic shifts, and then you start looking at the political shifts and the economic shifts. And you begin looking at all of a sudden, then you begin to see all of a sudden economic anxiety. It was always applied to white people. And I was sitting there going, how are white people the only people with economic anxiety? Black folks, by and large, are broke. We should have more anxiety than anybody else. But you begin to see how the demographic shift began to dominate that. And so I began talking about, I have been talking about this theory, this thesis for 14 years. This is not anything new. And every time something happened, the theory kept getting proved right. It was so crazy. We published the book September 2022. So many things happened from 2019 to 20. I said, guys, white people gonna keep doing stuff. We gotta publish the book. We can't keep waiting. And something would happen. When January 6th happened, we had to recalibrate. I kept trying. I said, guys, it's happening. Every time something happened, when Trump was mad about January 6th, what he kept saying, 4 cities. They stole the election from me. Atlanta, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Detroit.
Yep.
What are those 4 cities? When you start looking at the attacks on diversity, equity, inclusion, the attacks on multiculturalism, the attacks on equity, you see it. The attacks on critical race theory. It was all, white theory it was all of it. This whole 2016, I remember Michael Moore was on MSNBC. He's like, we need to go into these towns and we need to listen to them. I was like, no, we don't. They need to leave their all-white towns and come to some diversified-ass cities and talk to us. And so the whole Make America Great Again, everything was about living America through the prism of whiteness. And not just, and see the mistake people kept saying, well, those conservatives, no. It's some white fear on the liberal side. It was white fear in Hollywood. Black movies can't do well overseas. It took Django Unchained to show a so-called black movie could do well overseas. Hollywood was.
It took Black Panther.
Hollywood was. It was in every facet. So white fear is there, and this is about to trip you out. I've had black hosts of national shows call me, Roland, I would love to have you on my show, but my white producers don't like your book title. And I said, I talk about them in the book. In the book, I say, the reason white fear is not talked about because white executives and hosts and producers don't want to call it what it is. They use every other phrase and word versus saying, wait a minute, hold on, what's going on here? And so this particular host who called me, I sent this person articles from the New York Times, NPR, Time, Axios, and other platforms proving my theory. I said, so this ain't just me. I'm like, it's right here. But folks don't want to deal with it because we don't want to confront what is sitting in front of us. And so I made this book as clear, with as much clarity as possible, so people can now begin to understand why this is happening. So what happens? I published the book. CRT goes crazy. DeSantis attacking AP African American Studies programs. Now all of these states, we want to get rid of DEI. It's all there because anything dealing with equity, you don't want to confront because you now have to confront the fact that you're not going to always be in control. This is about power. This is about money. This is about resources. This is about control. And that's what it is. And so that's why I wrote it. And somebody had to say it and had to say it the way I said it. And that's what going. Man, the New York Times did an article where this one county in Texas was lily white for a long time. Now it's changing. And they were like, we don't want to look like Harris County. We know what that means. We want our accounting to remain the way it's always been. That means white. We know what that means. So that's why I said, how the browning Americans making white folks lose their minds. People are like, Roland, not all white. I say, of course not all whites. I said, but you would know doggone well when you're naming something. That's the real deal. You gotta call a thing a thing. And that's the problem, I think, in mainstream media. I call it mainstream white media. They don't want to call a thing a thing. They want to call it everything but the thing it really, really is.
How does it make you feel when you see a Kanye West and Candace Owens, for that matter, rocking White Lives Matter shirts?
I think Denzel Washington. I think Denzel Washington said it best in the movie American Gangsters. Simple Simon motherfuckers.
Simple as that.
That's what you're dealing with. You ain't dealing with bright people. Candace Owens is running a grift. Let me tell you something right now. I'm just being straight up. I said this before. With my skill set, I know my skill set. With my skill set, if I chose to be a black people hating conservative, I would be a billionaire right now. Guaranteed. The easiest people to take money from are white conservatives if you're black. The easiest. It's
Damn,
easy.
that's a powerful statement. That is such a powerful statement.
It's the easy. I'm talking about it's the easy. The easiest grift in America.
No. I literally, and I'm so sorry to interject, but I think of Hershel Walker in this moment. I think, my God, that's such a powerful statement that you just.
The easiest grift is from white conservatives. Doc, these people just give money to shit, and you like, are you serious? Dude, I know conservatives who will tell you, man, this ain't nothing but a grift. We getting paid. These fools will throw money at anything. They have said it to me. I was one of these black conservatives. I debated that fool on CNN. We go in the green room. I forgot that fool's name. Man, I got his face in my, I'll come up with it later, but he goes, we get off. He said, man, we need to take this thing on the road. And we can make a lot of money. I looked at him, I was kind of like, why in the hell you think I want to be on the road with your ass? He said it right there. When he sat there and said to me, I said, this ain't nothing but a grift. He said, man, we should take this thing on the road. We can make a lot of money. Man, these cats out here, he said, they spend money on this stuff. He told me that. And I was like, man, that ain't never gonna happen. Because you ain't real. You doing it for the grift. That's all Candace Owens is doing. Kanye, that boy need to be hospitalized. I don't even waste my time with him.
What's your thoughts on Hershel?
Oh, Hershel's an idiot. He's a useful idiot. Hershel, he knew that boy, listen, Hershel Walker was not running for the United States. I'm sorry, let me say it this way. Hershel Walker was not going to be the United States Senator. The person who was the chief of staff was going to be the United States Senator. Hershel Walker didn't know what that boy was dumber. That I have a phrase where I say that boy ain't brighter than a bulb in a dark room. That's how dumb he is. That's how dumb he is.
But it just goes to your point that is so easy a black person to get money from conservative white people.
Right, I'm telling you, they would
nobody would take that man serious.
Listen, Brandon Tatum is a joke. Candace Owens is a joke. Maj Touré, all of them. They know the grift. I'm telling you, I have had this conversation with actual real black conservatives. They can't stand the grifters. They know the grift. They see it. We've had the conversation. They're like, Roland, man, I ain't dealing with that fool. They're like, I ain't dealing. They know, dude, it's always been there. You've all in the last 40, 50 years, you've had black folks who like, man, look, I ain't no real damn Republican. Man, I'm over here getting paid. They know it. These cats straight hardcore grifting. And Candace Owens ain't bright. She's had black conservatives who I know personally who have called her and said, if your ass gonna get out there, girl, read something. She's admitted she ain't bright to them. It's a grift because they know it's gonna get white conservatives. That's right. That's why I love you. And they gonna just shower it in with money. That's the game, bro. That's the game. Game recognized game.
Okay, before I let you up out of here, I'm sure you saw your man Donald Trump went viral recently.
I don't know what he do now.
He said we have two N words, nuclear and the other one. This is a guy running for president again, mind you.
Yeah, but you got so let me unpack it this way. That's the distraction. Ron DeSantis, Mike Pence are 20 times more dangerous than Donald Trump. If Donald Trump becomes president again, he'll be less dangerous than Ron DeSantis. Why? Because Trump is stupid. He not gonna read. He not gonna study. He there for the pomp and circumstance. So he's so dumb that he won't let a lot of things happen because he's just dumb. It's all about him and his. A DeSantis is different because a DeSantis or Pence, they're not going to do the crazy stuff that Trump does, the antics. They will do the crazy policy stuff that he does. They're much smarter and they're more diabolical than he is. So the mistake that people make is if they think this is all fun and games. We're not talking about a Marvel character here. We're talking about power. We're talking about the White House, the presidency, the most powerful position in the world. That's what we're talking about. And so I tell people, don't play games with this. Do understand that Axios reported this, that a group of people who worked even in the Trump administration, they literally right now have been working on a plan. If they take over again, how they're going to not make the same mistakes they did last time. It is even more damaging, degrading, and diabolical than you could ever think. They're playing long ball here. Too many of us are focusing on tonight or tomorrow. You cannot play games with what they're doing. What they're doing is dangerous, and we better be on our P's and Q's and understand what's going on here before it's too late.
You know, for anybody who is not familiar with the name Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, and to your point, he is a very smart version of Trump, which makes him extremely dangerous. Okay, I so appreciate your time in this conversation, my brother. It has been a pleasure of mine. I'm sure it's going to be a pleasure to all who listen. Where can people find you? Go ahead and plug your YouTube channel. I know you have Roland Martin Unfiltered. You're live several times a day.
That's the show. We're live 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. We restream the show. But of course, we have the Black Star Network that can download the OTT app on all platforms: Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. We're now on Amazon News. You can watch our 24-hour streaming channel there. But also, I need people to understand that, look, we're not here if our audience doesn't support us. We're not getting the advertising dollars that we should be getting. That's the case with all Black-owned media. Our fan base has held us down. In 4.5 years, man, they've given $2 million. I mean, without that, we don't exist. So we're fighting the good fight. And we got a bunch of our folks, man, they old school.
Hold on, you're getting more, and I'm so sorry to cut. You're getting more from your fan base and the listeners and the viewers than you're actually getting from sponsors and advertisers?
Yes. And that's how we, because of the excuses they make, that's why I've been calling out ad agencies and companies directly, because of how they want to severely underfund and not support Black-owned media. And so we have to, keep doing battle. And I got a group of people, man, it's cats. They ain't down with no Cash App, no Zelle. So, man, I get literally 30, 40 checks and money orders a week. And so they send they straight up. They send the P.O. Box. I go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Bruh, they got letters, and it might be $5, $50, $100, $1,000. They believe in what we're doing. They know it's legit. They know it's real. Man, I've had brothers stop me who said, man, listen, I got through prison watching you. The knowledge you dropped as well. There's nothing more, man, powerful than being somewhere, and it's moved me to tears many times. And you'll be somewhere, man, and somebody will walk up to you, and you're talking, you're live on the air, and they'll just reach out and grab your hand, and they'll just grab your hand, they'll squeeze it, and they'll leave $20, $50, $100 just in that moment. I mean, it's just, I just can't even tell you how often that happens. Because, and then had a brother, man, come up to me in the Atlanta airport. And this has happened 5,000 times. Brother walks up and he says, Brother Martin, thank you. I said, brother, I appreciate it. He goes, no, thank you. And he walks off. That's all he said. But I knew exactly what he was talking about. Man, folks will stop me. Hey, man, we praying for you. Keep speaking truth. I mean, I don't care where I go, because they understand what real information is. And so that's why when cats hit us up, man, on Cash App, $RM Unfiltered, PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. When they buy the book White Fear, that money's going back into the show. Man, I built this with my own money. We started with one sponsor, my own money, fan base. And here's the other thing. I said to the audience, I said, I'm not going to charge a subscription. I said, because a lot of people can't pay that monthly $4.99, $5.99, $7.99. I said, so I'm going to do this fan club. I said, but listen, y'all. I said, we can't afford swag. I said, the money you're going to spend on swag, you're going to spend all your money, I said, mailing the stuff. So all these folks, man, we probably got 27,000 donors to our show since we launched. Bruh, I probably had maybe 50 complain they don't get a hat or a t-shirt. People know when they give, they can see it. And that's why when I go on the air, I tell them, yo, this C300 is 20 grand. This live view unit is 60 grand. We this set, our control room. I show people when our Sprinter got totaled. We had to get another one. We had secondary insurance, but they wouldn't let it apply. So we had to spend another $72,000 on the Sprinter. We should have it very soon. They see us and they see how we're using it for live broadcasts, for rallies and for protests and stuff like that. And so I am very transparent with how we're building this. And I am hopeful that we will break through with these ad agencies and the companies to show us the respect we deserve. Because can we truly have a Black news and information network that is just as big, as powerful, and as credible as a CNN was, is, or whatever? 100%. Can we have Black-owned media that is just as influential and powerful as the New York Times? Absolutely. But it's not going to happen unless you build it. And that's what we're doing. We're building it, and we take no prisoners. And listen, I do entertainment interviews, but why is it? Because people get asking me, man, you need to have a sports show, entertainment shows. That says no, because we are already inundated with that in Black America. If you want to do entertainment and sports, it's 1,000 places you can go. But what we do, nobody else is doing. Not Byron Allen, not Black Enterprise, not Essence, nobody. What we're doing every day, live broadcasts, covering stuff on the ground like we are, nobody's doing that. And we're going to keep doing it.
With that said, it's only one thing for me to say. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
No. Thank you.